So having looked at the whole idea of what a production possibility frontier is, and the why it's shaped in this curve, which we call concave to the origin, which is the law of diminishing returns, now we just need to look at some other ideas that the PPF can show us. One of the really important ideas is this idea of allocative efficiency. So today we're going to look at the difference between allocative efficiency and productive efficiency. Now we need to recap and just remember what was a PPF. Okay, a PPF shows us all possible output combinations. And I'll just write that down. All possible output combinations when all resources are used as best technically possible. Now there's some assumptions there, as best technically possible. There's assumption that we're making when we draw graphs, and we need to just go through some of those. Some of the assumptions are that we've only got two goods. So we've tended to look at a farm, and we might have corn up here and wheat down here, or timber and dairy products. Quite a common one we use in economics, we talk about consumer goods, which are goods we use such as TVs. We use them just for our own personal good. They're not used to produce any other goods. Versus capital goods, and those are goods that we use to produce other goods such as machinery, factories, tractors, and so on. And so we look at there's only two goods that can be made. We assume a given level of technology, and we also assume that all available resources can be used to produce either of the two goods. Although, as we saw with the law of diminishing returns, they don't necessarily produce either good in equal amounts. So, for instance, some resources might be better for you making consumer goods. Other resources are better for making capital goods. And as we transfer those resources from production of one good to the other, we get diminishing returns, i.e., we get an increase in output of capital goods, but at smaller and smaller amounts, leading to the shape of the curve. So, all resources can produce either goods or services. Now remember, probably the most important thing in economics is this idea of allocative efficiency. And we really need to just make an emphasis here. What is allocative efficiency? Allocative efficiency is when we use all resources, when we use resources as best technically possible to produce what society or people or consumers demands. Now there's two parts there. There's the idea here, and I'll just get to change my colour a bit slightly. There's the idea a bit about what society demands, so this bit here, and there's all about we use all resources as best technically possible. Now that bit there is actually what we would call productive efficiency, and that's purely productive efficiency is purely when we use all resources as best technically possible, full stop. So that means, if you think about this there, any point on this graph, remember PPF shows all possible output combinations if we're using all resources. So any point along this graph is productively efficient. So A, B, C, F, or G, any of those points along the production possibility frontier are productive efficiency. And if we put a full stop on that definition of allocated efficiency, when we use all resources as best technically possible, that would be productive efficiency. And that's any point in the graph. But only one of those points is actually allocatively efficient. So And we can't tell from this graph, okay? A PPF does not show us which point is allocative efficiency, i.e. which point consumers want. So it could well be D, it could well be E, it could be any of those. We don't know. There is no ideal combination. The only way we can know that is by looking at the market and seeing what consumers tell us. And then if we did that, and we know that the market's in equilibrium, then we might know that one of these points is allocatively efficient. So only one point on the PPF can be allocatively efficient. So that's the difference between allocative efficiency and productive efficiency. Productive efficiency is any point on this graph, whereas allocative efficiency, which is what we're always after in economics, is when we're using all the resources as best technically possible to produce what society wants. And in a market economy, that's decided by the marketplace.